And I didn't plan on like taking pictures of my genitals or anything. Growing up and to this day, my two favorite brands have to be Mercedes and BMW. My dad tended to gravitate more towards BMWs, had a 328 convertible, had a 740i Sport at one point that he traded when he was buying a business and had to scrounge up as much money as he could, traded it to a guy, and I guess shortly after he bought it, the radiator exploded in typical BMW fashion. So there was always BMWs around the house. He had a few Mercedes as well, but also at the time growing up, the Bond films had BMWs in them instead of Aston Martin. So you had a Z3 and GoldenEye. You had the 750iL and the BMW Z8 and Tomorrow Never Dies and The World Is Not Enough. I think I'm getting that right as far as the Brosnan BMW films. And I thought they were the coolest cars ever. And to me, I felt like BMW had peaked in 2001 when it came to design, when it came to engineering, to their mantra, building the ultimate driving machine. And after that, Chris Bangle came in and redesigned the 7 Series with that giant Bangle butt, that beluga kind of look, and they became more focused on technology and gadgets and iDrive. And ever since, BMW has sort of gone in that way, where luxury meant gadgets and technology and the latest glitzy stuff there, and even less about building the ultimate driving machine cars because they got bigger and bloated and uglier, and now we have the big buck-tooth things that I have no desire to own any modern BMW except maybe an M2 Competition, which my cameraman Jake has as a daily driver. Those are very neat cars, but going back, 2001, prime year for BMW. And this idea came to me when I looked online trying to find a photo of the entire lineup of the 2001 BMW model year, and I couldn't find one. There wasn't one. The BMW Z3, you had the Z3M at the time, you had the Z8, you had the X5, one SUV, a beautifully styled SUV with V8s and the 4.6i performance-oriented, the 7 Series before it got all ugly, the 740i Sports, wonderful machines. You had the 5 Series, the E39 M5, with that great engine. They had the 4-liter V8 6-speed manual, great power there. And then you had the E46 M3 that had come out by then, by 2001, with its S54 inline 6, great power, individual throttle bodies like the M5, amazing driving experience, amazing build quality, for the most part. Of course, the cooling systems, the timing chains, all that stuff that seems child's play compared to what modern BMWs and all the issues they have, but still well-engineered, solid cars that were absolutely amazing. And nobody had celebrated them. Even back in 2001, they didn't really talk about how amazing this lineup was. So I set about to gather what I called the BMW Dream Team. All of these cars from the 2001 model lineup in one color and have them for a moment in time for a video and a photo shoot. So I had a head start with this Dream Team because I had the 2001 740i Sport, and then I found an amazing deal on a clapped out E39 M5, and then decided to go for the BMW Z8. So since I was halfway there and the Z8 was the big obstacle, and they all happened to be in silver, I just needed 3 more. And I had the bright idea that people would want to join me in this saga and help out and chip in and maybe like give away some of these cars when it was all done. So I thought I should start an OnlyFans to do it. And I didn't plan on like taking pictures of my genitals or anything. It was just a way for people to contribute. People do OnlyFans apparently to do this as far as crowdfunding outside of GoFundMe. But I thought it would be funny for the videos to do OnlyFans. But it backfired big time because I only got about 10 OnlyFans subscribers paying. And they just wanted to see pictures of my genitals. They did not want to help out. They wanted the full Hoovie, and I wasn't giving it to them. So that was a massive failure. We're not getting Hoovie's butthole on the internet. So I abandoned that idea and had to buy the cars myself, which is fine. And it wasn't that hard to do. So I just needed to round it out with the M3, the Z3, and the X5. Those 3 turned out to be the really bad purchases because the X5 is definitely the weakest of the bunch mechanically with all of its issues, air ride suspension, the timing chains, the electronics. Still a really cool vehicle. I think the 4.6IS also had the issues with eating oil. The valve seals would fail and the engine would smoke. Thankfully, I didn't have to deal with that, but there were a lot of issues with that one. The M3, the E46, it showed up with a noisy or bad transmission that I swapped but it was a very nice car. And the Z3 was the funny one of the bunch. I didn't get an M, I just got a really cheap one at an auction for, I think, $2,000. Really cheap, but it was the inline six and it was a manual transmission, so it was a nice spec. So now I had all of them, all together, all sorted out more or less, and I could line them up to celebrate the greatest automotive lineup, probably of all time, of any automaker, and it was a pretty cool moment. We drove all of them to the spot on a taxiway at an airport, and I got to marvel in my absolute stupidity of, for whatever reason, me being the guy to assemble the BMW Dream Team. And it was absolutely magnificent. I cherish the photos to this day, and then promptly sold almost all the cars. I kept the Z8 for a few years afterwards, but that was one of the ones that got traded in for the Bugatti Veyron. So it wasn't like I wanted to buy and hold and keep these. I wanted it to be a moment in time where I had this and I pulled it off. And nowadays I have, I think, two BMWs, the clown shoe that was in the flood. I think that's a 2001, the S54 Z3M Coupe, and I have a 98 740iL that I got very cheap. So in a way, I do still have a little bit of the BMW Dream Team in the garage. I'll always cherish the cars.
For the last 20 years or so, I've been working with Premier Financial Services for my own exotic car needs, but also sending friends and clients when I was a car dealer to Premier Financial Services because their simple lease is truly the most powerful tool in the world of exotic car financing. We love it because we get all the great things about leasing, like low upfronts, better tax treatment for business owners, lower sales taxes, but we also retain all the great things about a traditional finance arrangement, like the ability to accumulate equity, trade in and out whenever you want, and always know where your payoff stands because they give you an amortization table with every single lease. And Premier's been a supporter of VINwiki here for the last 8 years, and we love them for that, but truly because the customer support of the Premier Financial Services team is unmatched. And now that they're backed and wholly owned by First Financial Bank, that gives them even more buying power for their portfolio of the most significant and valuable collector and exotic cars in the world. It's also allowing them to create new and more interesting finance options and programs for their clients and giving them much more buying power, which is what everybody is looking for as they go on the search for their dream car. So check out Premier Financial Services right now at the link in the description below to thank them for their support of VINwiki and know that they'll be the perfect supporter of your journey to own your dream car.